Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland, New York, New Jersey,
Minneapolis,
California, Utah,
Michigan.
Iowa, Massachusetts,
Georgia, Canada,
Our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesia,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Boulder Ridge,
Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club.
and Wilderness Lodge.
And you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening to My
DVC Points.
Welcome home, neighbors, to episode 127 of the Community Hall Live podcast. My name is Chad Pennycuff, and I am your host here tonight. And we are talking about a kind of a trip report show and what we did on our last listener meetup, which was around June 10th, if I remember, and pull the numbers out of my old noggin here kind of correctly. But before we jump into today's show, I want to give a shout out of thanks to our sponsor for today's show over at Monera Financial. If you are looking to buy a resale contract, Monera Financial has the financing that you need to pull this off. They have guaranteed financing for every single DVC resort. All the states that DVC is in, they can write the loans on. They've got competitive rates. They've got multiple different models there. You can go credit check, no credit check. And if you're worried about this thing showing up on your credit report, they can even do this so it doesn't even show up there as well. DVC resale market also has some special financing programs with them where they've identified contracts that'll meet like a low down payment deal. You can talk to any of the guides over at DVC Resale Market to find the low down payment options. And if you're trying to get into a DVC contract for little cash down, Monera can do it. So monerafinancial.com, let them know you heard about them here on the My DVC Points podcast. Now, to kick off today's show, I want to welcome back our regular co-host, Marianne.
Hi, Chad.
Hi. Hey, Marianne, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing great. And we've got Dave joining us as well today. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey guys, good. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming back. It's good to hang out with you guys again. And
Definitely.
Also behind the scenes, shout out to Rachel, who is our producer for tonight's show. She will be handling all the behind the scenes stuff for us. So working on comments and all of that. So welcome to today's show. And let's talk about our listener meetup. So Marianne, you kind of inspired this meetup, I want to say, because you were like, hey, I'm coming here. And then next thing you know, we all say, well, if Marianne's coming, I'm coming. And, you know, we've got like 2 or 3 years of this straight now.
We do. It was fabulous to get to see everybody and had a really great time seeing everybody. And I think the highlight of the meetup for me might have possibly been Vicky's chocolate chip cookies that she baked for us.
I
fresh
agree.
and hot. How can you turn down a cookie that's fresh and hot and delivered to you on the boardwalk at Old Key West?
She walked them right over to you guys. That was so awesome of her. Thank you, Mom.
We are Team Cookie in the villa here, right? So we were a little overpowering for any of the villas. We had just a few too many people and the weather was nice. So we did come back in and have some homemade cookies on the villa there just to celebrate our team cookiness. But
yeah, she rocks.
Yeah, so that was a really good part of this. And so just going through the list of who all do we have? Do we have the photo that we could throw up? I don't know if we have that ready, but I know Gina was here. Her husband was here. Coming through the list, we've had Patricia, myself, Marianne, Monroe, Caleb, Hope, and Brianna, Gina, we had Judy, Shannon, we had Mark, we had his brother Jim, Daniel, Dave, and Vicky, all joining us for Team Cookies in the Villa there, or right at least the boardwalk. We'll say it's in the villa. It's close enough, right?
Seeing that picture makes me want to be back there right now so bad.
Yeah, so we did grow in size a little bit this year, picked up a couple of new people that joined us as well. So we're really glad to see that happen.
It sure is fun just to sit around and visit and to get to visit with people like Patricia and Judy and Mark and Jim and people that listen to the shows, but we don't talk to on a regular basis. Those of us on the team talk to each other all the time because
and what nice people they were too.
That's the business of the team. But it's just so fantastic to have an opportunity to hear their Disney stories in person,
Yeah,
just sitting
and
there
hang out,
visiting.
right? And then the stories about how we've created content that have helped them
Yeah.
along their DVC journeys and make decisions. And it's a very, very, very rewarding time for us is to get to hang out with people. And I had to give Gina a little bit of a heads up. I was like, Gina, okay, this gets a little weird at point in time when they start quoting you to you because they've listened to the show so much, but you don't like know them.
Know them.
And she goes, oh, that's right. We've been in their living room, haven't we?
It's so funny because we were on this trip, right, with a family that we've, become family. We're just really close friends. And a couple of times in the parks, people would stop me. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Cindy. And thanks, Patricia and Patricia's whole family. And the looks on the kids' faces going, why are these people talking to Marianne? She's our Marianne. Why are we stopping to talk to strangers? And I was like, they're not strangers. They're my friends. It's all good. So I appreciate all the people that stopped me and took pictures and all of that in the parks. It was really fun to get to see a lot of people this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you are so much better at tagging those photos with your friends in the wild. And I think that's what you're calling it when you run into people from our community. And I got to do better at that. I'm like so bad.
I'll say this one was different than other ones that I've been to because this weekend or that weekend of the meetup, we were able to spend multiple days with some of our listeners and not just at the meetup. So that was a different experience for me. And I really enjoyed it because you got to know them that much better than just, a couple hours at the meetup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that'll be one of our questions tonight and we might just skip order a little bit and ask that one, but what kind of cool things would you guys like to do at a listener meetup? And we've got the whole hangout on the boardwalk at Old Key West. That really worked out well. Let's talk about that for a second. And I go, what I liked about it was you didn't have to have a park ticket to get there. If you had a Florida resident AP and you were blocked out on weekends, didn't matter. We didn't have to pay for it. We didn't have to reserve it. I was able to bring my own cooler of beverages in and, hey guys, here's a whole cooler. If you want pop, water, whatever I got in there, you're welcome to it. If you wanted to bring your own, you could. So we kind of addressed it from an affordability standpoint at that point in time. Now, if it started to rain, we were a little hosed and
cast members were great there, offered us the chairs from the bar. I mean, it was great all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just really like having an option for people that doesn't cost anything and that you can just be there and visit. And I think that that's why I've always liked that meetup. And it works really well at Old Key West because of just the laid back vibe at Old Key West.
Yeah.
And I wasn't staying at Old Key West at that point, but it was super easy. Hopped in a lift, got there, no problem.
And it cooled off by the time, people were showing up. It was so hot that day. And it was nice when the breeze, we had that nice breeze that goes along the where we were all standing over there on the boardwalk.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of that might be better than that spot would be
air conditioning
point, but you can't really take up all the tables there unless you're ordering stuff. And we don't know how many people are going to show up. So it's like, we can kind of accommodate tables at Old Key West because it's just a picnic area.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. I mean, we went to Geyser Point our very first night of our trip, and getting a table for our entire group of 13 was really tough. Or getting enough tables together. We had to wait quite a while for just our family. So.
Yeah. So I like that. And one of the things that I tried to do for our July meetup was book the Grand One, which is the yacht at the Grand Floridian. And it is not back in service again post-COVID.
Okay.
So
that's during the fireworks, right? When you rent it out?
You can do it during the day. You can do it during the fireworks. Okay. You can do it whatever, but it's just not back in service.
Gotcha.
And I even called the Be Our Guest Vacation Travel Agents folks and said, hey, can you guys book this? And was kind of hoping I could, maybe talk the sponsors into paying for it or doing a sponsored event, some kind of a deal like that. But didn't end up working out that way. So I'll keep my creative, going back to the drawing board on that one.
Gotcha.
But
Well, hopefully it'll be back soon so that
hopefully it
like
will.
that could be an option.
Hopefully it will be. Hopefully it will be. But yeah, we're looking at doing something creative, fun like that, because when we got to do our tour with like the team the day before, it was really good. I guess doing like the ride scramble is the best way I'm going to call it, because every time you got onto a ride, you were riding with somebody new from the group, and you had somebody new to talk to from the group, and every single ride,
Or waiting in line.
Yeah. Or waiting in line, or
Eating ice cream together. Everything about it.
The first time I did that to my husband, I looked at him and said, "I'm riding with Shannon. Go find somebody." He
Well,
just looked at me like,
I tried to steal Marianne's scooter at one point, but she finally came back, so that didn't work out for me.
yeah, dude, we might have to get you a scooter if that deal ends up going down again. But we definitely wore you out as well. And we've got a great question here as to when is the July meetup. And officially it is the 29th, and we are going to Islands of Adventure and Universal over there. And we're going to hit a couple of rides, a couple of shows. I don't know that everybody's going to be able to do it. And a bunch of us do have the express pass after 4 as well. So we should be able to do a couple of things if it goes late. But we don't know how it'll turn out, because it's our first time doing something like this at Universal. But we planned it when the Disneyland people called all the annual pass holders an unfortunate attendance mix. So we said, well, we're going to hold an unfortunate attendance mix over at Universal if this is the way we are.
Sometimes the first times are the best times too. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So look
we
forward to
definitely
it.
don't. But yeah, that part worked out well with the meeting deal. What else kind of worked out well from our meetup, guys?
Well, I think the biggest thing, like you said, was where we met, how we met, and it not having to cost anybody anything. That was probably the best part of the whole thing, without a doubt. We did have backup. We had a 2-bedroom that we could go to if there was going to be weather issues. So I think everything was planned out pretty well on your side, Chad, as far as, if we had to get anything
well,
done.
That's really Gina and Marianne. Like, I'm not
or whoever was doing it. Okay. Yeah. I also think spending time with some of the listeners before the meetup, so that way you really got to know them, and then go to the meetup and you're more even in like a closer thing. I think that for me was one of the highlights for me as far as getting to know people. So it really worked out being that the first time that way. And I think it's something that I'd like to maybe try and keep doing in the future if it works out on the days or the weekends when we go. So, we get such limited time with people in person. Comments here and there on Facebook are great, and you do get to know people that way, but there's nothing like meeting them in person, spending time with them. I think me sitting in lines with people, I kept going back and forth through the lines for whatever reason. I couldn't find my son or this or that. So I'm always talking to somebody different, like even your neighbor. It was really good having all those different people to talk to and hang out with.
Yeah. Nick puts out a pretty good idea here. Bowling or karaoke with the gang would be fun. And I can steal a page from the Disney Nerds podcast. My buddy Jimmy over there does a meetup at Splitsville every year.
I like that place. The food's good too. Actually,
yeah, it's like $40 entrance to get your own little buffet area, and they bring out X amount of pizzas and snacks per however many people sign up, right? And then I think it's like $60 or $70 if you want the well drinks as well for the meetup time. And we have a little bit of an issue with them because we wanted them to do their like adult slushies. And if you bought the well drink package, you didn't get the slushies. And we were like, that's the only thing that's worth really drinking here. Is like, so he was like, well, next time just do the food only and buy your own slushies a la carte.
Okay.
I'm like,
yeah, that place is good. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, you could get 2 slushies for $30. So like that's probably the plan. And now I don't think we got bowling for that there, but we could probably work that into something as well.
Sure.
And then I think the Swan or Dolphin has some karaoke as well. If not, there's
that would be funny. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know Pete wants us to do a meetup sometime over at the boardwalk.
Jelly Rolls.
Over
at Jelly Rolls.
Is that open?
That is open.
Yeah. It is open. Okay.
That is open, and it is a rockin' loud good time. I will tell you that as well.
Awesome. I've never done it.
Yeah, we might have to just end up rolling over to Jelly Rolls one night as a big group, getting there early and accommodating a section
area.
table.
That sounds like fun.
But yeah, so those are some things to come back in and plan on. The difficulty is like, if somebody makes this their vacation, we don't want to accommodate too much of their time or pull them away from their family vacation. But at the other point, on the other hand, we're looking at this and we know DVC members tend to buy annual passes and enough points to come multiple times a year. So having people come down just for a meetup is not all that unreasonable either. So we're kind of like trying to figure out the balance there.
Yeah, not to mention having multiple meetups so that if they can't make one, maybe they can make the other. So if we don't meet you this time, we'll meet you on the next one. So
yeah,
it's not that you have to be at every one, as long as you can get in there at some point.
Yeah, and I do know we'll be doing some opening day meetups at Disneyland Tower as well. If people want to come in and see our studio opening day, we'll be having some cookies or something there in the villa. If people want to come up and say hi to us as well, we'll definitely be doing that. I wanted to book a 2-bedroom. I just couldn't pull off the points for it. So, and yeah, Linda's saying yes, Jelly Rolls on the boardwalk as well. And Wooderson says boardwalk sounded like a great time. Yes, I was going to suggest Geyser Point as well. And then not DVC, but also some love for Three Bridges of Coronado.
It's nice there.
Yeah, if you time Coronado right, we could commandeer an area there. We just have to get there like right when it opens up.
I love the bar upstairs at the tower there. It's beautiful and so much fun every time we go.
Yeah, definitely would. Definitely would.
There's a nice balcony to sit outside there. It overlooks the city.
And so we've got some unrelated questions I will get to after the show. If you guys will stick around for that have popped up in our chat, we want to answer those, but pretty much stay on topic here as well. So what did we do here that was like one new thing that we tried?
Well, for my family, it was Tron.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do Tron, and it was well worth every penny we paid for every day that we paid for them to run over there and ride Tron. They absolutely, everyone loved it, from the youngest person with us, who was 8, all the way up to me. We all loved that ride. So
Tom had a good time as well.
Tom loved it too. His point was, and it was on my private Facebook page, not on the group, but there was a picture of him and Katie, and they're both like, ah, and Katie's making some thing with her hands, and she's so excited. And Tom's comment was, "We went so fast it blew my hair off." So, dad jokes galore. But
that's funny because Tom's hair is about like mine. So
yeah. So he's a funny guy. But I think that while it's a short ride, I think it's about the right amount of ride for me. I mean, by the time it was over, I was like, okay, we can be done now, and but everybody just loved it. It was so much fun. So, and I'm a girl who gets motion sick pretty easily, and I was able to take my over-the-counter medicine and able to ride it without a lot of backlash for me. So
cool. So it's funny you brought that up. Mine is also Tron. So a few episodes ago, I don't remember, maybe it was a lifestyle episode, we had gone to the what's it called? The pre-ride.
The preview for Tron.
The preview for Tron. Did Tron. I was not a fan. I said it was one and done. Not happy. I didn't like the way I was sitting on the bike with my neck looking up and those things pushing in my kidneys. So I wasn't really impressed. And I heard a lot of that. So I was like, okay, well, at least I did it so I know. When I went back this time, my son was afraid of going on the ride. And he said the only way he'll go on the ride is if he could sit in the cart in the back. So I don't know if everybody knows, it's all motorcycles, but one of the end of the carts or the end of the motorcycles.
Bucket seats is what I think they call them.
Bucket seats. You can sit in there like you're on a normal ride. So I said, sure, of course, I'll do that with you. So I did that with him. And I actually had a completely different experience on that ride than on the motorcycles. I actually liked it. I would go on it again. So I think it was just the position I was in. I didn't feel comfortable, like just bent over and looking up the whole time. So I have to say that it was definitely a much, much better experience. I enjoyed it. I thought it was too short. That's why I think Guardians of the Galaxy is much better as far as, time frame. But
a little bit longer. Yeah.
A little bit longer. Try and get the most of it as I can for the thrill. But otherwise, I have to say it was. If you're not sure about it, go in those carts and whatever they're called, and it's you might like it better. I did.
Okay. One new thing I tried this trip was over at Columbia Harbor House. I don't normally eat there, but that's where we kind of like ducked into because of the rain. And so I didn't even have a chance to look at the menu. It was like, oh, here's a platter or something. And I was busy like taking care of other stuff and other people in the group. So I was just like, just give me that. And it was okay. It was decent.
I enjoyed it. I like that you could sit upstairs and we didn't have to fight for seating, and it was different. And I agree, definitely. I had the lobster roll. It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, I would put it on the would go back to again list.
If I was on that side of the park, easy to get to, definitely.
Yeah. So that was my one new thing that I did there as well.
That's an almost every trip thing for us. We really like Columbia Harbor House. So
yeah, somebody on Tron was saying that they love Tron too, and they were lucky enough to get a boarding group at 7 a.m.
That's fantastic.
And we've got somebody that didn't like Guardians though.
I understand that. I'm not a Guardians girl. Too much spinning for me. I don't do it well. So
I love the G-forces on that ride. Gosh, that was fantastic for me.
Yeah,
my family loves it. My family loves it.
And we've got a cookie chef that has stepped up and volunteered, but remains anonymous.
I still think that's my mother.
We'll have to
two more from before was her, and she still hasn't figured out how to put her name on there.
So yeah, we'll do that though. We'll do that. And so okay, so Rachel, our next question for tonight is: so what's something that you did you wouldn't do again, Marianne?
I had to ask my family this one, and I think that the answer was we've gotten really good at being DVC members. Our family has. And that slow pace that DVC members take, we don't do that rope drop to the park close routine anymore, and that run pace. But we were with people who this was their first trip. And so a lot at the beginning of this trip was the run, and oh, we've got a lightning lane and it's across the park. Go and go. And Tom said, if we never do that again, I'm okay. So he goes, that was hard on us. We've gotten really spoiled being DVC members and being able to take a nice slow sleep in, get there when we get there, do things at our own pace. Right. So I don't know that we'll be doing that rope drop to park close routine.
I'm with you 100%. Dave and I got there extra early on that full day in the park.
Oof.
And we knocked out Guardians, Remy, Test Track, and Frozen.
And Soarin'.
And it was just like, yeah, we did it all. No, we don't have to do that all again. Like poor Dave was limping along by the end of the day from hip. I'm not used to walking all this. And yeah, we won't do that to you again, Dave.
Thanks. I did get my magnet.
Oh yeah,
that was nice.
That was something that's cool. We did get our Figment magnets, so that was really nice.
We were walking past it. Chad, I guess, caught it on the corner of his eye. He's like, let's go in here. We go in there. We make it like a little Yui. We walk down the glass. We walk up to the person. They send us to this guy. I mean, in like 10 seconds, I had a magnet. So he's like, we should do this now, like a comment after. We should have done it now. I'm like, yeah, it made sense. So we keep going because we were actually in a hurry to meet somebody, but we did it anyways. We came back. There was a line out the door.
I waited in a line out the door the day I got my magnet. So
yeah,
I was really impressed with your 10 seconds.
And was like, oh yeah, we're on this. Yeah. Like I will take the 30 seconds out to go get our magnets because I ain't spending 15, 20, 30 minutes in the
there was one sign by the door. You really didn't know anything was going on until you like really read, and how many signs you really read.
Yeah.
He caught it. It was just perfect.
Yeah. This is my first magnet there. So I'm like, yeah.
I was looking for it that day because I was really excited because normally being an AP that doesn't live in Florida, I don't get all the cool magnets. So I was really excited they were giving a magnet away while I happened to be on a trip down there. So
yeah.
Yep. That was cool.
So now let's move into favorite moments here. Dave, what's some of your favorite moments from the meetup?
Well, one thing that keeps sticking in my head is we were all at this boardwalk and we're waiting on my mother. So everyone's at the boardwalk, hanging out, talking, having drinks, blah, blah, blah. My mother's in the room by herself, cooking like 200 cookies or whatever it was. So Chad's like, do you think those cookies are ready? I'm like, I don't know. Let me go check. So I go there. She's already done one batch. She's working on the second batch, and she's so smart with everything. The cookies wouldn't sit right on the tray, and she couldn't cook so many at a time with the way the tray was. So she flipped the tray upside down, which had more area space, and cooked them that way in the oven so she could get them done faster. But the oven in that place would not heat up. So she was waiting forever for that. But I just could see how much love she had in doing it for us, knowing she's going to bring it out to us. And she's just the sweetest mom in the world.
She is. Vicky is on.
Yeah. And when we finished, we had them all covered up and we're walking out there. And this just tell you how she is. So we're walking up there, and first we walk by those things that you throw in the boxes, those little, that's that game that's always set up on the cornhole. There were a couple sitting there that we got to talk to during dinner. She stops, she gives them cookies. And then we go in and she gives the cookies to whatever it is. She had a little bag of lace wrapped up with like 6 or 8 cookies tied with a bow for our waitress that was so sweet to her when she was there alone the night before, that let her in after they closed and let her have dinner because we were all at the parks and my mom didn't go that night with us. So all of that, just to be able to have that with her, it just breaks my heart that, it's amazing.
Yeah, Vicky is awesome. I swear to goodness, Dave, she must have asked me 30 times, when's Gina getting here? Like, okay, you're Team Gina. I get it. We're just all chopped liver, but
yeah.
Before we came on earlier,
no need to meet Marianne.
I was talking to Marianne and Rachel, and I'm like, my mom said, so is Gina going to be on? And I'm like, no. It's so funny. So that definitely, from my perspective, was the best thing for me. Obviously being able to do all the rides I did with my son, which was not really part of the meetup, but the meetup part, was that specifically for me.
Yeah,
Chad?
That's awesome. My favorite parts are always meeting people and hanging out, Dave. So the old Key West, getting to talk with everybody, and
we weren't stuck in this little area, which was nice. We weren't all smushed in somewhere.
Yeah, and getting to hang out with everybody, and then getting everything done. Like once it got done, that's when I could have fun, because it was a lot of work for what I did on the day before, getting all of that set up and organized. So it was like, okay, now I can finally have fun.
The months before of setting this up.
Yeah, it was a heroic effort setting up the pre-event stuff, but team meetings and all that stuff. So yeah, that was a lot of work, and I was so glad. But then we just had a great time hanging out, and was my favorite part was getting to hang out with, everybody who came out, their friends, their families that they brought as well. Yeah. Just a really great time had by everybody that showed up to this. And so we'll definitely be planning more of these, and probably some of them will be a little less casual as well, because we've got some event meetup software that Dan Kenny and not Dan Kenny. I'm pulling names blank right now, but we've got people working on our event software to just do meetups, and people can even request a meetup. If you're going to be coming to town to say who's here, let's get something posted, and some really neat software to do that, because it's hard to build a community when you don't promote these little meetups, right? That's kind of what we're all about. Is
Dan Clamart?
Yeah, Dan Clamart. There you go. So,
well, I would say I am just very thankful that everybody got together, because I came to town. It was just such a, I mean, it's just such a, I just really enjoy spending time with everybody. I really do. I enjoy the hugs, and I'm just very thankful that a listener graced us with the ability to spend the day together Friday, riding every ride on the planet. And that was such a nice experience to get to do a VIP tour together as a team. And I'm just very thankful to that listener who did that for us. And so I just wanted to say, and we had the best VIP tour guides between Jose and Hannah. Yeah. Trust me, last year when we did a VIP tour that we paid for, We did not have Jose and Hannah.
Yeah.
Trust me, we did not. And I had
Gina
kind of
goes
said,
into more detail onto that, into the lifestyle show we just
Yeah.
yep,
talked about.
you have to
Gina was on that
listen to
tour as
the,
well.
you'll have to listen to the lifestyle show to get the down and dirty on that one.
That's a fun
But-
show too. It was good.
But Hannah and Jose were wonderful and such a gracious gift to give to our team. And I think everybody really appreciated the day. But my favorite moment of the trip was the day of the Old Key West meetup. My family went to Epcot, and Gina and Brandon and Shannon were there, and the Allisons were there. And we all ended up just dumb luck and animal cunning having Guardians at the same time. And Katie has had 5 songs for a very long time.
Did she get her final one?
She got song number 6, riding
Wow, I
with
haven't
Gina
gotten that
and
many.
Brandon and Shannon and
Awesome.
Tom. So, and you just could tell the picture. She's like this. Yes.
That's
And
cute.
I looked at the picture later and went, that must have been the ride where she got the song. And she got off the ride and she's skipping out of the ride. And Shannon and Gina are like, yeah. And Brandon's like, I hate that song. So it was fun that she got her final song, but it was even more fun that she got to do it with some people in our community that we love. So
Cool. That's awesome. That's a
Yeah,
lot of
that
songs
is
to get through.
completely awesome as well.
Yeah, it's tough.
So yeah, we do have some new meetups coming, and that was a fun picture as well of everybody on the Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. And I guess now we're going through our photo show here. I should have looked to see how many we have of these. But anyways, that's kind of our show, guys. Be on the lookout for more events coming up. If you are in town and you would like us to promote a little meetup, we can definitely drop that into the Facebook group. If I'm here and available, I will gladly pop over and say hi to everybody. It takes me 19 minutes to get about anywhere on property, minus parking at Magic Kingdom, which is an hour to leave the house and get into the gate, because you've got to park, tram, cross the lake, whatever else. But any place else I can get in 20 minutes as well, including Disney Springs, Epcot, Hollywood, Animal Kingdom. It's pretty nice. And do definitely like meeting up with people. It's one of my favorite things as to why we actually do the show, is to be able to create those connections to community and help people as well.
Did you read the last comment, Marianne?
I did see that.
And here, I'll throw it up there as
There we
well. So Vicky says that Daniel told me, which is Dave's son, that Marianne is his favorite.
You know, Daniel and I had a really good time when he didn't want to ride a few rides, and we snuck over to Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy and then sat around having snacks. So it was real fun.
And thank you again for taking care of him while we were on the rides. That was
Hey,
really
no
sweet.
big deal. I didn't want to ride that ride either. So I'm more than happy, but we weren't just going to sit around. I was
No, I
like,
don't blame
we're
you.
going to go do something. So
Good.
There you go.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. And then somebody else says, Vicky, thank you so much for liking my cookies. I love to make them, see them smiles
That was
she
my
gets
mom.
for them. So, okay. Well, that pretty much wraps up our show tonight as well. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and do a huge shout out of thanks to our sponsors, DVC Rental Store, Monera Financial, and DVC Resale Market, for their continued support throughout season 10 and 11 through our new renewal with them as well. So that's some exciting content that we're going to be able to produce in community halls and everything that we're going to get to do to kind of serve you guys as well throughout this process. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something in today's show that'll help you set up some kind of a magical meetup, community meetup for the people that you love hanging out with here at Disney. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.